Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradha Hari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradha Hari Yashodanandana Braja Janarangana Yashodanandana Braja Janarangana Yamunatira Vanatha Hari Yamunatira Vanatha Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradha Hari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradha Hari Jaya Gopi Janavallabha Girivaradha Hari Yashodanandana Braja Janarangana Yashodanandana Braja Janarangana Yamunatira Vanatha Hari Yamunatira Vanatha Hari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Jaya Radha Madhava Kunda Bihari Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare 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 Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Radha Sham Sundara Radha Sham Sundara Hare. Jaya Radha Sham Radha Sham Radha Sham Jaya Radha Sham. Jaya Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Krishna Balaram, Jaya Krishna Balaram. Jaya Gauranitai, 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 Jaya Gauranitai. Nitai Gaura Haribol, 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 Nitai Gaura Haribol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. We are reading from the Bhagavad-Gita as it is, 18th chapter, text number 67. Idam te na tapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana na cha shushave vacham na cha mam yo pyasuyati. Idam te na tapaskaya na bhaktaya kadachana, na cha shushushave vacham, na cha mam yo vyasuyati, idam te na tapaskaya, na bhaktaya kadachana, na cha shushushave vacham, na cha mam yo vyasuyati, idam, this, te, by you, na, never, atapaskaya, to one who is not austere, na, never, abhaktaya, to one who is not a devotee, kadachana, at any time, na, never, cha, also, ashushushave, to one who is not engaged in devotional service, vacham, to be spoken, na, never, cha, also, mam, toward me, ya, anyone who, abhyasuyati, is envious. Translation and purport by His Divine Grace, Srila A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada. Srila Prabhupada Ki. Translation. This confidential knowledge may never be explained to those who are not austere or devoted or engaged in devotional service, nor to one who is envious of me. Purport. Persons who have not undergone the austerities of the religious process, who have never attempted devotional service in Krishna consciousness, who have not tended a pure devotee, and especially those who are conscious of Krishna only as a historical personality, or who are envious of the greatness of Krishna, should not be told this most confidential part of knowledge. It is, however, sometimes found that even demoniac persons who are envious of Krishna, worshipping Krishna in a different way, take to the profession of explaining Bhagavad-Gita in a different way to make business. But anyone who desires actually to understand Krishna must avoid such commentaries on Bhagavad-Gita. Actually, the purpose of Bhagavad-Gita is not understandable to those who are sensuous. Even if one is not sensuous, but is strictly following the disciplines enjoined in the Vedic scriptures, if he is not a devotee, he also cannot understand Krishna. And even when one poses himself as a devotee of Krishna, but is not engaged in Krishna conscious activities, he also cannot understand Krishna. There are many persons who envy Krishna because he explained in Bhagavad-Gita that he is the supreme and has nothing, and that nothing is above him or equal to him. There are many persons who are envious of Krishna. Such persons should not be told of Bhagavad-Gita, for they cannot understand. there is no possibility of faithless persons understanding Bhagavad-Gita and Krishna. Without understanding Krishna from the authority of a pure devotee, one should not try to comment upon Bhagavad-Gita. Bandeham Sri Guru Sri Yutapata Kamalan Sri Gurun Vaishnavamscha Sirupam Sagarjatam Sahagana Vitam Tam Sajivam Sadvaitam Savadutam Parijana Saitam Krishna Chaitanya Devam Sri Radha Krishna Padan Sagana Lalita Sri Vishakan Vitamscha He Krishna Karuna Sindhu Dina Bandhu Jagatpade Gopesha Gopika Kanta Radha Kanta Namastude Tapta Kanchana Gaurangi Radhe Vrindavaneshari Vrishabhanu Sude Devi Pranamami Hari Priye Vanchakalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Evacha Paritanam Pavanebhyo Vaishnavebhyo Namo Namaha Jaya Sri Krishna Chaitanya Prabhu Nityananda Sri Advaita Gadadhara Shiva Sadi Gaura Bhakta Vrinda Hare Krishna 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 Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. So here Krishna, after telling Arjuna to surrender unto him, he is explaining that this transcendental knowledge should not be explained to those who are not austere, devoted, engaged in devotional service, or to ones who are envious of Krishna. And so it is mentioned in the scriptures that 10 offenses are there to the holy names, which are to be avoided. So the 9th is to preach the glories of the holy names to the faithless persons. So here, Krishna himself is telling his devotee, Arjuna, that one has to be conscious and one has to be careful in this regard. So this knowledge is confidential. Of course, as we can see, the acharyas and also Srila Prabhupada himself and the devotees following the acharya, sometimes they're taking a risk in order to spread Krishna consciousness. And because nowadays also you can see the majority of the people, they're actually not austere, they're not engaged in devotional service, and many they are envious of God. So then who is qualified to hear all over the world, to hear the message? So therefore, the acharyas and the devotees are also impelled, and they're trying to give this knowledge also to those who are not really qualified. And certainly by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is the avatar for the age of Kali. Even the people who are not austere or engaged in devotional service, who are envious, so they may be able to become purified of their impure consciousness, and they may be able to slowly but surely engage in devotional activities. And that we can see in Gaur Leela also, specifically when Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu told Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur that was in Navadvip, which is a great place of learning. Many scholars were there, and so persons were austere, and so they were studying the scriptures, and some of them were also trying to engage in devotional service according to their understanding and ability. But so some persons, they were also not so cultured, or persons were there like Jagannath and Madai, were from Brahmana families who actually deviated, and they became drunkards and woman hunters, and so performed illicit activities. So, but being requested by Mahaprabhu, they went door to door and asked everyone to take up the chanting of the holy names, the Yuga Dharma, chanting the Mahamantra, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. And so, and as it is also mentioned in the scriptures, that so specifically Krishna himself is saying in this verse that we have to avoid people who are antagonistic. But so Nityananda Prabhu and Haridas Thakur, they were so compassionate, and they wanted to give the holy names to all. So they were there, Jagan and Madai, in intoxicated state, but still Nityananda Prabhu asked them, begged them, please take up the chanting of the holy names. So one of them took a broken piece of a clay pot and treated Nityananda Prabhu on his forehead, and so then some blood came out, so he got hurt. Then other persons who were there onlooking, so one of them immediately went to see Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and narrated what happened. So Mahaprabhu came very quickly there, and he called this Sudarshan Chakra. So Mahaprabhu is Swayam Bhagavan, the original Supreme Personality of Godhead, no different from Sri Sri Radha and Krishna. And in the original Personality of Godhead, everyone is included. Vishnu, Narayan, Vasudev, Krishna. So form of the Lord is there in Vaikuntha, or of course, many forms are there, formed in Vaikuntha. And so they have 4 arms and they have 4 items in the 4 hands. 2 to destroy the demoniac people, a club, and Sudarshan Chakra, a transcendental wheel. And then they have also 2 items which are auspicious and to give blessings. One is a conch shell and one is a lotus flower. So he called the Sudarshan Chakra, transcendental wheel, ready to cut off the head one of these two brothers who dared to throw a broken piece of a clay pot. Just like Krishna killed Shishupal with the Sudarshan Chakra because he was very offensive. And so he tolerated 100 offenses, and then that was enough. And he cut off his head. But then Nityananda Prabhu, he begged Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, please, please, be merciful, spare him. And actually, because in the age of Kali, and even here in Navadvip, so many persons are like Jagaya and Madai. So if you kill these two, then you will have to kill so many. So please be merciful to them. And so imploring him to rather try to destroy their mentality, offensive mentality. Then, so the one who threw the broken piece, being actually told by Mahaprabhu that you should take shelter of Nityananda Prabhu and beg forgiveness. So he did that, and then the other brother also ultimately surrendered. And so then they were actually initiated into the process of devotional service, and they were called Jaganananda and Madhavananda, Jagai and Madai, and they became great devotees. So Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, Nityananda Prabhu, and the associates of Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, they are very merciful, and so they are delivering the most fallen. And Mahaprabhu also had foretold that one of my Senapati, Senapati means the general of an army, he will come and he will spread this Krishna consciousness all over the world. Pitivityacha nagaradigram sarvatra prachar hoy bamoranam. In every town and village, in this Prithvi, in this earth planet. So, in every town and village, actually my name will be chanted. So the holy names of the Lord will be chanted. And so Prabhupada was empowered to spread Krishna consciousness amongst drunkards, as Prabhupada, when he first went to America and New York, 1965, so hippies were there, were actually many times from good families also, but they saw that there's no use of this life of sense gratification, and they wanted some alternative to this life with ultimately not really any purpose, just simply work hard and make some money and then engage in sense gratification. But the human form of life is meant for self-realization. And it is natural for a normal human being to, in the conditioned state, also to have these questions. Why am I here in this world? What is the purpose of life? What will happen at the time of death? People are so much in ignorance all over the world. The majority of the people, they don't know the purpose of life. They don't know what will happen at the time of death. They don't know even of the existence of the soul many times. Very much in ignorance. And all over the world, many people, they're engaged in sinful activities. Eating meat especially, which is most sinful. Majority of the people in the world are eating meat, even in India, surprisingly, more than 50%. More than half the population, they are meat eaters. And then drinking, alcohol. So, even here we can see in Vrindavan Dham, a holy place. But even if you come from Delhi and there's one place So therefore he was not only materially blind but spiritually blind also. And therefore, so his children and of course, ultimately, the Lord is the permitter, and the Supreme Lord, He knows everything, and ultimately actually everyone is a servant of the Lord. But due to the modes of material nature of this material world, especially the mode of passion and ignorance, so some persons, they become inimical towards the Lord and are fully engaged in materialistic activities. But ultimately they're also servants of the Lord. Duryodhana and his brothers, they're also jivas, part and parcels of Krishna or Vishnu. But due to the modes of material nature, for the time being, they were opposed to the Supreme Lord and they were opposed to the devotees of the Lord. And for those who are situated in this way, then ultimately destruction will be there. And because many of the kings at that time, they were actually envious of the Lord and they were sinful. Therefore, they had to be killed. And therefore, this battle had to happen. It was unavoidable. And so Krishna, the supreme mystic, Yogeshwar, so arranged it in a way which is difficult to understand. Like the Pandavas, they're devotees of the Lord and they're righteous. But they were banned. Not only for a short time, but for 12 years. And then one more year, they had to be incognito. Oh, so that's a long time. And sometimes you have some difficulty, which lasts a few days, and we are wondering why this is happening. Krishna, why this is happening to me? Or sometimes it's a little longer, 1 month or 2 months, maybe 1 year, and we're thinking, what's going on here? So therefore, in the pastimes of the Lord, the devotees also put in difficulties and much more severe than our difficulties. So that we can get some courage and strength. Well, the Pandavas, they had to undergo so many difficulties for 12 years, 13 years. But they never complained to Krishna. Krishna, do something, you're the Supreme Lord. He could have done, but he had another plan. And they just accepted, well, what to do? Krishna is not doing anything and we have to be there. They're supposed to be kings. And they were not given, even they asked one time, Duryodhana, actually Krishna was there as practically as a kind of messenger, and he told them also then, Duryodhana, please give them at least 5 villages. The Kshatriyas, the kings. And he said, I will not give them anything. Not even as much as a hole is there is in a needle. Nothing. But Krishna, okay. So then they were just there, going from one place to another place, a forest. And so Krishna has his plan. He assembled all the demons together to come. And then finally, then the battle was there. But before that, so he spoke the Bhagavad-Gita. So he was put in this situation, Arjun, so difficult situation. So now they had to fight. And then his teachers were there. And usually one has to be very humble in front of the teacher, very respectful in the consciousness. With the words, one should not argue with the teacher. What to speak of fighting with weapons ready to kill them? Not possible. And therefore Arjuna was saying, I cannot fight Krishna. Dronacharya, Bhishma Dev, Kripacharya in front of me, how I can fight against them? But then Krishna explained to him. So and he spoke about, so in this way then, in this situation, then he was already surrendered, but he was just perplexed what to do in this situation. Sometimes pure devotee doesn't know what to do. Like even Prabhupada, 1977, so his health was not so good, but still he felt not, I still have to establish one ashram and the devotees are not yet experienced enough. I should try to stay longer on. But so his health was not good and he was praying and he was asking Krishna, Krishna, what do you want me to do? So he was a little perplexed. So sometimes devotees are perplexed what to do. Usually they know what to do, what Krishna wants them to do, and they are inspired by the Lord. But sometimes they become perplexed. So Arjuna became perplexed. What shall I do now? I don't know how I can fight against them. Better go to the forest and just beg, live by begging. But then he surrendered to Krishna. And then he asked him for guidance. And then Krishna, in this way, then he spoke Bhagavad-Gita. First of all, that we have to understand we are not this body, we are spirit soul. And so, but we should carry out our duty according to Varnashram and for the pleasure of the Lord. So then, but then at the end also, when everything was explained, then Krishna also is telling him, so I gave you some instructions, but I'm not forcing you. So you decide what you want to do. And then, so Krishna, of course, then he also said, you surrender unto me. So suggesting him what to do. And then ultimately, so Arjuna is surrendering to Krishna. So we have to try to surrender to Krishna, take shelter of Krishna. So, of course, to do that completely is, in the beginning, it is not possible. But at least we try physically to follow the program given by the spiritual master and try to glorify Krishna as much as possible, and with the consciousness also. So try to remember Krishna, try to do things for Krishna's pleasure as much as possible. And then Krishna will reciprocate and Krishna will guide us, Krishna will help us. So, and then we may be able to attain perfection. So, but here, so then when we are on the path of devotional service, so we should try to help others also. But then we should try to avoid those who are envious. And then try to help those who are innocent and those who are ready to accept devotional service. And we try to help the devotees who are not yet so experienced. So in this way, then we can advance ourselves and Krishna will be pleased by our service, our individual service, and also by our trying to help others to make advancement in spiritual life. Hare Krishna. Any question? Yes.
This verse, is actually a prohibition or a prerequisite, you may say, or a condition put for devotees how to use the Bhagavad-Gita and who to give, who not to give. Just like in many other scriptures, it says something similar. We should not read the book if we don't believe in Krishna, like
Right.
Jiva Goswami mentions in Sandarbhas. What if you would neglect this instruction and still go on preaching like we do in ISKCON?
Yeah.
Then wouldn't you get bad reactions from Krishna? Because you are disobeying him.
Yeah, so as we have told also in the beginning, so sometimes the acharya or the devotees also, because they see that the majority of the people are actually not really receptive or they are not interested, but still to try to benefit them, an endeavor is being made to give this knowledge, to give this book to those who are not really qualified. And then of course then at the risk of then actually these persons becoming even sometimes angry, or even sometimes you have seen devotees distributing books and sometimes using a little pressure, please take the book, and then they buy the book because they don't want to get bothered by these people, by these devotees. But then they throw away the book in the garbage bin, which is an offense. So therefore actually we have to be careful. So remembering this instruction here, or the ninth offense against the holy name, not to preach the glories of the Lord to the faithless persons. So we have to remember that and be conscious of that. And so therefore we should not try to push too much. Of course, a little pushing is there, but we have to see that we are not trying to push those who are inimical, those who are envious. So we have to use our intelligence and we have to pray to Krishna to send the right people to us, and not people who are envious. But as again, we mentioned that the majority of the people are not really qualified. But then we try to see those who are less envious or those who are more simple, that we may be able to give them. And in this way, there is no harm. If somebody is innocent and is not envious, then we may speak to this person, or we may give him a book, or give them prasadam, or explain something about Krishna consciousness. And there's no reaction to that. But if we try to give to and push those who are envious, then there may be some reaction, and that may come soon. Like sometimes they become angry and they even try to push or slap the devotee sometimes, or as mentioned, or they may throw away the book, so which then will be an offense. And that means we are to some extent are responsible for that, and then there may be some small reaction to that. But basically the devotees are protected if they are sincere in their endeavor to help others. But again, we have to use our intelligence and try to discriminate between. That is a symptom of a Madhyamadikari. He's discriminating. He's seeing the Lord's devotees, and then seeing the innocent and the envious. So he will try to help those who are innocent and try to avoid those who are envious. So we have to try to act in this way and use our intelligence and be thoughtful and pray to Krishna to guide us to do the right thing according to time, place, and circumstances. So we have to be conscious of that. Otherwise, some small reaction may be there.
Isn't it like one acharya contradicting the other? Like Krishna says this, but Chaitanya Mahaprabhu says, Jara Dekhte Rahaka Krishna this. No consideration. Then depends on whose power you're depending that you're preaching.
Yeah, of course, there's no contradiction ultimately between Krishna and Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. There's no contradiction, not possible. But according to time, place, and circumstances, then so Krishna spoke to Arjuna, and at that time, and so then he was more strict, because at that time So it was more needed to be strict. Whereas in Mahaprabhu's time, so Mahaprabhu was more merciful, magnanimous, because the majority of the people also already at that time, because it is the age of Kali, they were less inclined or less intelligent to accept this path of devotional service. And so therefore Mahaprabhu was a little more merciful than Krishna. So there's no contradiction. So even there, Yaritikataka Krishna Pradesh, she was telling whoever you meet, but at the same time still you have to use your intelligence. And that Mahaprabhu also told when the devotees from Kulinagram came to meet him in Puri, he was explaining about the symptoms of Kanishtadikari, neophyte devotee, and then intermediate devotee and advanced devotee. And the symptoms are there in the Bhagavatam. So Mahaprabhu gave this knowledge also. Vairagya Vidya, Nija bhakti-yoga. So he gave the holy names, and so the chanting of the holy names, and the mood of how to chant the holy names. But then he also told that we should be somewhat renounced. Vairagya should be there. And then that we have to acquire we have to gain some transcendental knowledge also, how to engage in devotional service. So Mahaprabhu was, of course, he's the Supreme Lord, and so he gave this knowledge. And then, so in this way also, the devotees and Prabhupada said also, and that religion without philosophy is sentimentalism. And the philosophy without the religion, so that is actually what is the mental speculation, yeah, which the Mayavadis are doing also. And because the Mayavadis, they have some wrong understanding of the scriptures. So in this way we can see that Mahaprabhu, he gave the knowledge also, and so he expected the devotees to learn also the process of devotional service. And for example, he told some devotees that you should study the Bhagavatam in the association of the devotee, the experienced devotee. So acceptance of a spiritual master has to be there, who will guide the devotee. So in this way, there is no contradiction actually between Krishna and Mahaprabhu. But Mahaprabhu was a little more merciful. But at the same time, even we say the holy Dham of Navadvip is more merciful than Brajadham. But at the same time, if you engage in sinful activities in Navadvip, you will get reaction also. There is no excuse for that. You have to follow some principles. You have to follow some rules and regulations, and some prohibitions are there. And if you're not following, then you will get reaction. And so Mahaprabhu, so he gave the rules and regulations, and he told Sanatana Goswami also to write transcendental literatures, and he then presented Hari Bhakti Vilas, where there are many rules and regulations, but then he also, because of time, place, and circumstances, so he was giving many rules which we can hardly follow. But then he explained that because Mata Brahmanas were there and they were following so many rules and regulations, so I have given these rules. So therefore we should read these books also under the guidance of the devotees who are experienced. And then we may understand what is most important to accept and what we may not accept for the time being.
About Hari Bhakti Vilas, Prabhupada mentions in the conversation that book is meant for impress the smartas, not for the devotees to follow.
Yeah, but at the same time, it is also to some extent for the devotees.
That much Prabhupada gave.
Yeah, yeah.
Regarding that aspect which Prabhupada gave, he actually gave the Brahminical culture.
Right.
That we are saying most of the people are not qualified.
Yes.
Now, the other half, if you put in Varnashram, then it can encompass most of the population.
Right. Yes.
Also, you find that in that story of the Marichas, I think it was, who were burning the earth, they did tapasya in the ocean, and then he came up. And as they
Prachetas.
Prachetas, yes.
Yeah.
Prachetas. And then the protector of the forests then descends, moon god, and he says, don't burn the forests. And then he says also, forests, plants, and animals like goats are meant for food.
Right.
There seems to be a green light for eating meat. Of course, not cow. So it means that for other varnas, meat eating would be allowed. And drinking wine and liquor, even the Yadavas engaged in that. We know that. Otherwise, there would be no Moksha Lila. So, is it still possible to attain the perfection? Of course, not for Brahmanas. Because,
No, ultimately one has to come to the Brahmanical platform. One has to become Vaishnav.
Even as a Kshatriya?
Yeah, Kshatriya also has to become a Vaishnav. Everyone has to become a Vaishnav. And Vaishnav, the culture is there, and which is practically also Brahminical culture. But they may engage in their duty according to Vana Ashram, and the Kshatriya has his duty, but they should also try to, as much as possible, to be vegetarian, for example. They should try to be vegetarian as much as possible. And the Vaishya and the Shudras also. And of course, for the Shudras, it is well known, it is difficult for them to be without alcohol or to be strict in regards to association with women and so on. So, but still, it is given there, and actually that one should try to elevate oneself ultimately. But Varnashram is there so that gradually they can become elevated, gradually. And of course, chant Hare Krishna, chant 16 rounds and follow the regulative principles, and you go back home to Godhead. But that is not so easy to do then also, and to chant the pure holy names, to chant Shuddhanam. But by doing that, then we become more and more able to advance and then to come to the perfectional state. But it may not be possible in one lifetime, although Prabhupada said you can, but if you then don't have the samskar, the previous impressions, and you don't have the right environment and association, it may not be possible to do it in one lifetime, but no harm. We are on the path. And then after, in the next lifetime, if you are not attaining perfection, then next lifetime you will have better facility. So it is a gradual process. And so therefore Varnashram is there also, that gradually they can advance. So some people may not be able to follow the regulative principles, but then ultimately one has to become a vegetarian also. That is there, ultimately. But in emergency, yes, and sometimes the Kshatriyas, of course, they had to hunt, and sometimes they were eating meat. Even Prabhupada one time told one of his disciples, you go and preach in Russia. And then that devotee was saying that, well, but everyone is eating meat and you can hardly get any vegetables. And Prabhupada, just because he wanted the preaching to go there also in Russia, he said, even if you have to eat meat, you go there and preach. And then he went there and he got some vegetables, he got some potatoes, and he got some bread, and he didn't eat meat. So, and then, and ultimately even, for example, we know also that you can be strong because it depends also on one's psychophysical nature. So if you have a strong body, you can even remain strong without eating meat. And if you're doing some exercises, then you can be strong even without eating meat. But it is a little challenge, as we know. Many devotees, they are struggling a little bit with the health. But it is possible, and actually it is ultimately required. And that is a regulative principle. And because actually the sinful activities are there, and foremost that is the eating of meat, and then intoxication, gambling, and illicit sex. These activities have to be given up. So they have to be given up. And then we can progress rapidly. Otherwise the progress is not so rapid. That we have to understand. So therefore, even according to one ashram, so Krishna has to be in the center, and we have to follow these regulative principles. Otherwise, this progress will be slow. Will be slow. That's all.
Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna.